he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, traveling through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday night, which can only mean it's the final word on the weekend's action, which was Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Crystal Palace 2. Doesn't quite tell the whole story, does it really? We're going to be chewing the fat. It's great to have already 200 of you watching live, waiting to stop for the show to start across YouTube, obviously on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever they call it these days as well. So thank you for joining. If you want to join in the chat, you will be able to. All you need to do is hop along to the Always Wolves YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be able to join in the chat and get involved with that. We have a question tonight that's running a poll on the YouTube side of things, which is about Gary O'Neill. We thought we'd just do a general poll. It says the poll says in, keeping him in, still got the face. He just needs a little bit more time. Out, enough is enough, or undecided, not really sure. So if you jump over onto YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe and vote. We'll keep abreast of the poll. We have got an esteemed array of guests tonight, which is going to be interesting. We are going to obviously talk about the game yesterday, but I think the gist of tonight's show really is we played Palace. It's like, how much longer can this go on? And the reason I'm saying that is some interesting stats before we bring on our guest. It is 67 days since Wolverhampton Wanderers won a game of football, which was basically our second team against the Burnley team that weren't really bothered. It was the most relaxing match of football I watched Wolves play in the last 8 months. It was a 2-0 win over Burnley. It is 190 days since we actually won a game in the Premier League. 2-1 versus London, 190 days. So that's over half a year. That's basically 7 months. It is 239 days since we beat a current Premier League club. That was Fulham 2-1. It is 252 days since we kept, apparently, our last Premier League clean sheet, which was a 1-0 victory over Sheffield United, who are also in the Championship. And it is 260 days since our last away win, which was 2-0 victory away at Tottenham Hotspur, which is, crikey, that's like 9 months. So there's the stats of the things. We thought, how much longer can this go on, this nightmare that we're living through? We're going to be asking all those questions. We have got some great guests tonight, but first of all, I'd like to welcome onto the show Mr. Hardcore himself. It is Boston Brian, who travels up, would you believe, from Southampton every game. And he has a wonderful T-shirt on there, mate. The Europa League quarterfinals. My goodness me, the dizzy heights of those days, mate. The dizzy heights. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, Dave. I thought I'd put something on to remind us of a happier time than what we're going through at the moment. I do apologise as well. I've got a stinking cold, as you know, Dave. But
yeah, well, I had the pleasure of seeing you yesterday. You went back to have some food after the game as well. I'm glad you got home safe, mate. And loads of people are saying hello in the chat. Paul says, give it a like, guys. Dave's a top lad. We do appreciate that. And so Brian, you got back okay, and we're going to be looking forward to hearing your thoughts, because for those of you that don't know, Brian is a bit of a studious of the game. He did actually work with the Southampton coaching staff, obviously with the youth side, so he knows a little bit about football. And interestingly, we're playing Southampton next week, and I'm sure, Brian, you can get a lift on the coach on the way up next week, potentially.
Yeah.
I'm really, really glad that we also have this young man back. It is Howler with his human hoops. Mate, Howler's looking smug.
I know it's not probably reflective of the mood, but no. Evening to you, Dave, and evening to Brian. Yeah, he's there keeping me a little bit of company this evening and trying to get through and talk about what's going on at the moment. Which we'll get straight into when it's appropriate. But otherwise, in the football, it's a Sunday evening. If you hear a lot of commotion, it's still half term and there's fireworks going off. So there's a lot of chaos behind these four walls. But there we are.
Absolutely. No, to be honest, it looks to me like if you listen to this on the podcast when it goes out now, Hoops is obviously a human being. But Howler is a regular contributor to this, and he's basically a cuddly, stuffed wolf, which actually he looks as if he's been apple bobbing and getting involved with all the Halloween celebrations. He just don't care anymore. I don't think he's gone back. Am I right?
You're probably right. Yeah, what goes on here when I'm out, I don't know. So yeah, I'm sure he's having a lot more fun than I am. So
absolutely. Returning this week, wanted to come on the show. It is the man that says it straight to the point. It's our Super Sooty. Good to have you. Good to have you back, mate.
Evening, David. Evening, people.
How are you today?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, if you listen to it on the podcast, let me describe Sooty. He normally comes on with his, posh feeler top and everything. He's looking a little bit like the Black Label man, the milk, the guy with the milk tray. He's just like if you put a balaclava over your head, you could be like Ninja, ready to strike, mate. Just ready to sort of like go in as an assassin. You kind of look ready for it tonight.
I'm ready, Dave.
He's ready. And last but no means least, one of my good pals. Always makes me laugh. Love him to bits. It is, of course, the legend himself, the Lord, Mr. Jason Guy. How you doing?
I thought you was introducing Manny. Then everyone's so disappointed. It's my face.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you come on, Jason. And we're both like wearing our retro Wolves trackies tonight as well, mate.
There you go, Dave. I mean, it's a bit chilly here. Mrs. hasn't put the heating on. But 1980, the last time we won a major trophy, 44 years ago, nearly half a century.
I know. We're close now, aren't we? We're close.
Oh, yeah, we're really close, aren't we, Dave? We're so close now. Closer than ever.
Are more than ever. Now, before we get stuck into everything, of course, I do want to say, as always, a really massive big thank you to the team over at Creation Wolf for powering extra time. They deliver the industry's latest and most advanced digital solutions and take your brand, if you've got a business, online presence and digital capability to the next level. The link is in the description below. They are creationwolf.com. And they're wonderful people, and we're really grateful for their continued support. And we will be delving in to lots this evening, and we're gonna kick off tonight because I do have some contributions from some of the international fans, which I didn't do a separate video this time. So we've got 3 contributions, and I haven't even had a chance to have a listen to them yet. So we're gonna play one now. Play one in the middle, play one towards the end. We are doing it in one hit. We've already got nearly 600 people watching live. That's amazing. And I really hope you're enjoying it. Smash that like, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button. But let's hear, first of all, not that one. Where are the video files gone? Oh, they're still in the screen. Yeah, I've put them up here. Let's hear first of all from New York Dave, who was actually at the match, came over yesterday. Let's hear what he has to say before we get stuck into Brian, Hoops and Howler, Lord Jason and Super Sutty.
All the emotions in that match, giving up a stupid sloppy goal from a miscommunication, going 1-0 down in a must-win, then all of a sudden turning it on, going 2-1 up, and then giving away a stupid second to draw. All the emotions. Honestly, the whole match, I don't know that we deserve to win. I mean, Palace didn't exactly do much. I don't think Sarr had to make a save, maybe one or two, but Palace clearly just came for the draw. But we just looked out of ideas. I don't know, we were just so lethargic the first half. I mean, I know Palace was sitting back, but I don't know, I was really disappointed with the urgency today, especially after the last minute equaliser last week. So, I don't know, I mean, we didn't lose, but next week absolutely is a must-win now. No ifs, ands or buts. You know, Southampton, did they win today? I know we're bottom again. But next week is a must-win. We've got to beat them. No questions asked. Personally, I think today was as well, and we didn't. And it's not that we didn't win. It was just, like I said, the way we played. We just looked lethargic and out of ideas. Although, got to give O'Neill credit. After the rousing chorus of "You don't know what you're doing" when he took Doyle off, I was expecting the crowd to start a chorus of "You do know what you're doing" when the changes he made turned it around and we were winning 2-1. But you know, we don't sing those songs, do we? But I don't know, man. Disappointed we didn't hang on for the win. That's just basics. We've kind of forgotten how to win, right? I don't know what to say. I don't want to jump on the O'Neill out bandwagon, but like I said, he's got to win next week. We've got to beat Southampton. We've got to get a win on the board, get that monkey off our back, get some points that might only move us up one place. But we've got to beat Southampton next week. No questions asked. Anything less is it's over. And that's it. I don't know who they're going to bring in. I saw someone coming out of the match today who said Moyes was here today, which I would be surprised if that was the case. That would be a little weird to have a potential next manager watching the match while the current manager's still there. That would be a little odd. But, you know, people say Potter or Moyes. I'd take Moyes. I'd probably take Potter. I just don't think we're going to be able to afford him. His last match was Chelsea, or his last job was Chelsea. So, I don't know, Dave. Ugly times to be a Wolves fan at the moment, but we've got to beat Southampton next week. That's the end of it. See you, mate. Up the Wolves.
Always says it how he feels. He's always walking around somewhere. His New York day, whether it's New York, Hawaii, Honolulu, or as it was yesterday on the streets of Wolverhampton. So, who wants to kick us off? Brian, Hoops, Sutty, or Jason? Who wants to go first? Go on then, Sutty.
Well, good evening, everybody. Panel.
Evening, mate. Absolutely great to have you back on tonight again, pal.
Well, where do we start, Dave? What was that yesterday? I mean, that was a must-win game for me. That wasn't a one-pointer, Dave. That's an absolute must-win. That's where it all had to start for him. As you well know, and anybody that was there, it started to turn a little bit nasty at times yesterday. And rightly so. We've had enough, Dave. One win in 20. No win since Luton at home. And let me just tell you this as well. I'll go on to this quickly. Had that goal been disallowed for Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday, I would be absolutely...
You're on about right at the end.
I would be spitting feathers now. So we've got away with one at last.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Sutty, on that? And I actually agree with you, because I was speaking to Emma and everything, and I was thinking, I'm not sure he did quite have control of that ball.
No, No. Obviously, from where I'm stood in the South Bank, I couldn't quite see it. But when I looked at a replay straight after, I thought, Jesus, it could have been a whole lot worse, this. We look devoid of anything. We don't look fit. There doesn't look a plan. It looks to me like we're hanging on. See how much we can hang on by in the first half. And then we make these ludicrous changes that make us as much susceptible to conceding as we do scoring. So at the moment, we're conceding 2.8 goals per game. And there's no club on record in the Premier League that concede that many goals per game that survive. And we are, people, staring into the abyss here. Because if this all goes tits up, you will see a fire sale like you've never seen before. And we could be in big, big trouble. There's no plan. This head coach, some of the things he says that, I mean, he claimed yesterday that he's got a squad full of players with no Premier League. They haven't had much Premier League experience. Well, sorry, Gary, but that 11 you put out yesterday got 900 games between them in the Premier League. So don't give me that bullshit, because I'm not buying that. That's for certain. And I'm getting pretty sick of it. We've scored as many goals as Nottingham Forest, believe it or not, who are third. But there's a big difference here, Dave. They've got a bloke who looks after all first team affairs that knows what he's doing. This bloke is clueless. And I cannot for the life of me understand how I haven't woke up this morning and he has not been sacked. Every single game that goes by puts our point tally up more. We've at the moment accrued 3 points out of 10 games, 0.3 points per game. Probably one of the worst ever starts in Premier League history. And now we're up to just below 1.4 points per game to survive. Now, that's a monumental turnaround. And if they keep letting games go by, next week is massive. I'd sack him. Get someone in who's going to go into that changing room, because this squad of players, although it's not the best squad of players we've had since we've been back in the Premier League since 2018, 2019, because it's not the best squad we've had. It should not be bottom. And that then tells me that somewhere in this chain, there's a breakdown. And the breakdown is the manager. He simply isn't good enough. There's not a plan. There's no structure. They don't look fit. And I'm not confident at all we're going to stay up now, Dave, because with owners like we've got who are fanning around about 6 million quid's worth of compensation for him, there lies your problem, because unless we get changing very fast, we will go down.
Fantastic. Hoops, I would like you to come in next, because we haven't seen you for a few weeks. And Howler's talking in your ear, telling you what you need to say. So it'd be interesting to hear sort of like where you are. This is going to be more of a general feeling sort of show, I think, rather than any deep depth analysis. I mean, talk about yesterday, of course we will, and we'll talk a bit about it. But like, it's been a few weeks since we've had you on, and we always love having you on, mate, because you always speak really, really honestly. You're a proper solid, good bloke and a great Wolves fan, but you're always sort of like very sort of thoughtful on how you put things across. So where are you at? What's your feelings right now after yesterday?
Yeah, a similar wavelength to City. I guess I'll address that on two levels. So just quickly on the game, I think some real context here. Let's not forget going into this game, because I think it's a really important couple of points here, that Palace had just played Villa in midweek. So it was an additional game for them, less recovery time, but more significant to that, they'd lost arguably their two best players in Eze and Wharton. So let's put that into context, just even before we kick off that game. that should have given us some optimism because we've got a pretty good, clean bill of health. And it's the equivalent of us being without Cooney right now in losing someone like SA. So that's the first start. And for the first 45 minutes, because I watched the highlights back, other than Sarabia fluffing his chance, kind of going in no man's land in terms of where he wanted to go, we could have been 4 down. It was comical.
Dave Roden here, who's just said in the chat, which backs up what you're saying, said if Palace were clinical, we could have been hammered.
And this is it. And really for me, when I came out of the ground, when I tried to look at describing it, it was probably quite reactive, but it hasn't really changed. My initial word was chaos, and it feeds into what Sutty was referencing. This is chaotic. It's a team, and I'll submit in this sense right now that has a lot of individual ability, but has collective fragility because there's no cohesion, there's no shape, there's no style, there's no substance. And unfortunately, we've got a manager who's now bringing up his list of excuses, go from the fixture list, which I don't buy into. It was a tough start, but we've got to play everyone twice. We're in the Premier League. We're not a newly promoted team. And you know what? Give us a little bit more credit than that. So you can fixture list, okay. He's playing the set piece coach, which is obviously now sacked, and he's now in charge of set pieces, and obviously that's working well. Ironically, he's playing the player. He's playing the player fitness as well. So he's dug his players out. He's playing the refs. He's playing the transfer window as well. Whereas 2 weeks ago in an article, he said, "I'm not going to blame the transfer window. I take full accountability." Bruno Lage was sacked, I think, for 9 points in less games. He's got a shocking.
I think it was 6 points in 8 games or something like that.
Well, okay. Well, he doubled the points.
Said earlier, I might be wrong. Someone, put it on, and we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, I may or may not have got that wrong, but the points still stand. He's got double, or if not triple, the number of points that O'Neill's got, and so. To me, it's crazy because we know that this is a decent side. We look at the individuals, we know they are. But O'Neill goes into every pre and post match press conference as if we're it's the FA Cup. It's as if we're some sort of plucky FA Cup team with part timers, and we're rolling out the red carpets for these teams. I don't get it. These players are absolutely good enough. You could argue the point on the window and the additional centre half, although one of the centre halves, Santi Beno, has probably been our best centre half, and he didn't really want him. He's here by default. So there's so much there. But to me, it's. I came out of that game and thinking this is chaos. This team, yes, we'll score goals. But we'll go to Brentford and concede 5, and we could have conceded 5 the weekend as well. We've got the players, we've got the ability, but unfortunately, to me, it's just chaos. And I think there'll be a dividing line when we look back at this season, and there'll be a set of circumstances that feed into it. Be it the keeper that we didn't need, and be it these list of excuses, be it his stubbornness, which unfortunately will be our downfall. Ultimately, I'm frustrated because I know it's just Shee's stubbornness that's going to dictate this. 4-year contract. Nuno had a rolling contract, and I think the others did as well. The 4-year contract is why he's still within the job, because it's not performance related, because it's 1 win in 20. That's the only reason. It's Jeff Shee's ego and the fact that he's not prepared to pay off not just Gary, but also his staff as well. But he needs to put his ego for one door and realise actually sooner or later this gamble's not going to pay off, and he's got to get someone in. Hopefully they're looking behind the scenes, but at the moment it's looking shocking, and it's farcical, to be honest, Dave.
Just before I go on to Brian and then Jason, I'm saving Jason for right at the end of this particular section because I know he's chomping at the bit with a lot to say. Obviously, you call out Jeff Shee there, which is fair enough. But obviously, Matt Hobbs, he has been front and centre with the transfer window, and I've given Matt Hobbs a lot of credit. The way he dealt with last year with the FFP, with what he was left to deal with. Obviously, we've called out the
Davey's hands are tied.
Yeah, but Matt Hobbs, Gary O'Neill is Matt Hobbs' man, is what I'm saying. He's the guy that brought him in, and
Look at the players he's brought in.
I'm wondering whether like it's not just Jeff, it's Matt Hobbs who's basically, because it's his guy that's brought in.
I don't think any of the blame lies at Matt Hobbs' feet, but I'll come on to that.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm asking Hoops initially. Do you think Matt Hobbs has got something to do with the fact because he brought him in and it's his guy that he's still here as well, and because they do work quite close together?
Well, they do, and ultimately it's on his watch, isn't it? It's on his CV, and it's down as the fact that when he came in, Gary O'Neill came in with quite a big endorsement from him, and obviously the board collectively have made that decision. I'll be honest, I don't think the window was that bad. I think we were probably a defender short. I think we're doing a disservice to some of these players. I actually think you can use that. You can use Hobbs. Yes, there's the funding. Yes, there's the fact that we've gone stagnant, and that's a wider point. However, with this set of players that we have, we are far better than 3 points return. It's as simple as that. You know, we've got issues absolutely in terms of investment and so forth, and how far this club want to go. And ultimately, they only want to stay ultimately a Premier League team for their vanity, as I see it, and not go any further than that. However, I think the players are good enough. But so ultimately, the players, yes, have to take accountability, but it's the head coach who's, you know, people will talk about last season and give him a little bit of grace with the injuries and so forth. But those stats you reeled off at the start, the stats don't lie. And ultimately, he's got the tools. He could have better tools, absolutely. So, yeah, in reference directly for Hobb, yes, he shoulders some blame, but ultimately, he brought Gary O'Neill in because he felt that the players that he was capable of getting, I would imagine, more than 3 points out of them.
Absolutely. Brian, you're next up, mate. And then we're going to bring you in, Jason. I'm looking forward to that as well. Brian, what's your take on all of this and your feeling? You know, you travel the length and breadth of the country, you know.
Yeah.
Following you all the home.
Okay, Dave. I just want to say that you started the show saying that our last away victory was, you said 2-0, but it was actually 2-1 at Tottenham.
I was in 2-1. That was
February, yeah. But
I think the last clean sheet was 200 was Tottenham or something. Tottenham was
Billy Wright was in defence.
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, at that time when we beat Tottenham 2-1, we just beat Chelsea, and
Sheffield United was the last clean sheet. Sorry, Tottenham was 2-1. Yeah, you're right.
We done the double over Tottenham. We did the double over Everton. We did the double over Chelsea. Beat Man City at home. And at that time, I think we all thought we could beat anybody. So if you look back at that time, and also I just want to quickly say, around about that time, it was a little bit after that when it started going a little bit pear-shaped. We did have an extra time. Might have been the last time I was on. And me and Keith, we both said, and I'll hold my hands up to this, we both said our most important business in the summer was to get a long contract for Gary O'Neill, because we were worried he might go to Liverpool, he might even become the England manager, you know. Now, okay, that's how we felt at the time, right? But he either was a good manager at that time, or he was a lucky manager, you know, or somewhere in between, maybe, yeah. I mean, do you remember that Monday night when he was on Sky Television and he was telling us how he beat Bournemouth, how he passed the ball through the lines and the diagonals and through, you know, and all that? It's very, very good. I thought it was a bit naive going on there, telling everybody what your tactics were. You know, I mean, you know, I think he was trying
how he beat Bournemouth.
How we beat Bournemouth. Yeah, how we beat Bournemouth.
That was how we beat Man City.
No, it was how we beat Bournemouth. It was how we beat Bournemouth.
It was how we beat Man City. He came on after it was the Man City game.
No, it was definitely how we beat Bournemouth, because they showed the incidents there. I remember it vividly. Actually, it was how we beat Bournemouth, but we beat Man City as well. But it was before that. It was pretty early in the season, you know. And I thought it was.
We drew with Bournemouth though, Brian. It was Man City, 100%.
No, we beat Bournemouth 2-1. Sasa scored the winning goal.
I thought
Yeah.
it was the game. It was after the Man City game, but there you go.
Yeah, it was definitely Bournemouth. Yeah,
Ellie's saying here it was Man City.
it was. I'll tell you now, it was.
Lexi's saying it's
I'm
definitely
100% certain it was Bournemouth. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't think
Oh,
it really
everybody,
matters.
calm
It's-
down.
it's-
Gary
it's-
O'Neill's causing a massive row now between us all.
We've got bigger issues to fry, I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Don't matter.
he was a bit naive going on there, telling everybody, his tactics. I think he might have been trying to blow his own trumpet a bit, But anyway, but the end of the season, there was lots of factors involved. Losing all 4 forwards and playing kids, the biggest problem we had last season was losing Dawson, without a shadow of a doubt, in a back 5, back 3, back 5. That was our biggest problem because we started leaking goals. Okay, we couldn't score goals, but we started leaking goals as well. So if you just look at this season in its isolation, it's been appalling, hasn't it? It's been appalling. So we were either wrong about him being this brilliant manager that was going to be the next England manager and things like that, But I think he's been found out. Really, I really do. I mean, at half time yesterday, I stood, sat, turned around talking to the people around me and I thought we were clueless, absolutely clueless. Okay, we created a couple of chances. Ain't Nori, if he had a right foot, might have scored 2. Sarabia, he's so frustrating, that player. He's got all the ability, and he just makes the wrong decision sometimes, doesn't he? But he does deliver a good ball into the box. He did at Brighton. But he's so frustrating. I mean, I was very impressed with Guedes when he came on. Apart from him losing his man at the back post, he just let him go, as Lamina did at Villa for the second goal. I was impressed with Lamina when he came on. He was very, very strong. Very strong in that. But Santi Bueno, me and Sutty have always been fans of him. I think he's our best defender. I really do. And we weren't playing him. He's only playing because Mosquera got injured. Isn't he? He's only playing because of that. He's one of our best players. But yesterday we conceded 2 avoidable goals, didn't we? They're just avoidable goals that we conceded. But we scored 2 very, very good goals. I mean, I always look at a goal. Every goal any team concedes. But listen, it'd be nice to listen to the Palace fans, wouldn't it, about that? How did they feel about the 2 goals that they conceded? I mean, Kuna sort of out-muscled, what's the guy's name? Chalabar. He out-muscled him, didn't he, really, at first, and took it down on his chest. Brilliant outside of the foot pass to, we scored 2 very, very good goals.
We did.
We conceded 2 awful goals, didn't we, really? I mean,
At back post again.
Yeah, well,
that's what we conceded. How many in the back post against Brentford? It was at the back post again, and it was there again.
Yeah, but there were some positives. I mean, at half time, I was despair. I watched, as Hoop said, I watched the Villa Palace game in the week. I wanted to watch that to see how Palace played, and they both put out quite strong teams. And I know, the winning goal that they scored, their press is so, want of a better word, impressive. That they got this sort of 3 at the front that press really hard. When we press, we're just going through the motions. We're just sort of wandering over there, just half-hearted, closing people. The best presser in the last 10 years is Jamie Vardy. He's absolutely, when at his peak, not now so much, but at his peak when he was really fit and he's really quick. He puts the goalkeeper under pressure, which is, we never do that. We never attack the goalkeeper. We just wait for the just ambling over. It's almost like you're trying to save energy. You watched theirs yesterday. Their front 3, Nketiah, Mateta, who's a monster actually. What a centre forward he is. What a target man he is. And whoever was the other one, I can't remember who the other one was. Anyway, they pressed in a line. They put us under pressure. Fortunately, we didn't get caught out yesterday. Villa did. Villa did the other night. They got caught out. The second goal was caused by that. And also what I noticed is when we like trying to play through that line of three, they've got another press coming in another line of three. Anyway,
absolutely. I just want to say thank you to Kelly Con 1000 for becoming a new member of the channel who's just joined. I noticed it was someone, Dave, joined the other day. We will put a link to the members Discord group on the community so you can get in with our community chat as well. So much appreciated. Brian, you make some really interesting points there because obviously I know you've done a lot of coaching. And
sorry, Dave, just want to say one more thing. In the first half, there was one incident where Tommy Doyle and Joe Gomez got in each other's way. And it was almost like, it was like they didn't know what to do. It didn't cause a problem, and they actually came away with the ball. But they were almost like, shall I leave it for him? Shall I leave it for I just thought to myself, what's the coaching going on? What's happening in the coaching?
Let's come back in and let's because Jason's waited really, really patiently.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise.
Jace, obviously you've heard a lot of comments here.
Yeah,
I know you always talk from the heart. Let's hear what you have to say about you wanted to talk generally, didn't you, about the situation?
Yeah. I did say before I don't want to dissect the game really because we're just papering over a massive crack. Now, if Fosun and GFG are worried about the 4-year contract that they've given Gary O'Neill and his cronies, and they're worried about the costs of sacking him, that will be minuscule in the cost of relegation to this football club. In terms of obviously the EPL status, which is huge, hundreds, if not thousands of jobs will be lost as well, Dave, with all the part-time staff. Yes, it'll affect the local trade of the city. The fans all around the world, this fan base that we've grown all around the world will dissipate, right? Because I don't care. I'm sure they feel it, but they don't feel it like we do, right? That will dissipate, I'm telling you. Sutty made a great point earlier about the book value with these players because there will be a fire sale, a massive fire sale. These players ain't going to stop around, and there will be a huge fire sale. On top of that, there's going to be obviously the crippling wages, and then the effect of the club is their pricing strategy, which they've priced a load of loyal supporters out of this year with 2,000 empty seats yesterday. Their pricing strategy will completely change because they won't be able to command the sponsorship that they get and all these deals internationally. They can't charge the astronomical prices they do for these £50,000 and £70,000 boxes they do in corporate. Ticketing, merchandise, they'll have to do a massive U-turn. They've seriously got to think this through. Now, a guy on Twitter just said, oh, look, we win the next 2 games. It's a different landscape. It doesn't. We just literally putting air freshener on a dog turd, right? We are in massive trouble. So you give some stats earlier, Dave. I'm going to give you some stats as well. Gary O'Neill has currently got a 31.5% win ratio. Okay, 31.5%. Bruno Lage got sacked with a 37.2% win ratio. Gary O'Neill's record currently stands at 48 games, 13 wins, 92 goals against, 92, nearly 100 goals against. Right, 1 win in 20, and you give the rest of the stats. My calculation, similar to Sutty's, we've got 3 points this season. If we need to hit the golden target of 40, which we probably don't, but let's just say golden target 40 guarantees you safety. That means we've got to get 37 points from 28 games. That divided is 1.32 points per game. Right. So even if we drew every game this season, we're still getting relegated. And this is the stark reality that faces this club. And do you know what? I've heard Sutty bleat on, and I've got my happy clapper mode on. I didn't mean that disrespectfully by saying bleat. I've heard Sutty bang the drum, and I've stopped as positive as I could. And do you know what? I've agreed with Sutty for a long time. And I was hoping that I couldn't see this moment coming. But we've got to be realistic, and there's still supporters out there who say, give Gary O'Neill time, right? We can't give that man any more time. We're in deep deep trouble. And you can blame Matt Hobbs all you like. I'm not saying you, Dave. People
Oh
can
no,
blame
I
Matt
mean he's had
Hobbs.
to be honest, he's had a lot of praise. I
But he
mean,
has had a lot of praise, Dave. But you can't blame Matt Hobbs. These players he's brought in are more than good enough, right?
they are
more than good
absolutely.
enough. By the way,
I think what Hoops has said, the transfer window this year wasn't too bad.
Look, more than good enough.
Perfect transfer window.
And let me tell you something, Dave, as well. We're not too good to go down because there's a lot better teams than Wolves that have gone down from the Premier League, right? So we are not too good to go down. So let's not get mistaken there. Matt Hobbs, the only culpability, and his hands are tied here, is clearly not bringing in a central defender. When we've conceded 90 goals in 48 games, how can we not bring in a central defender, right? And people who say, oh, we shouldn't be playing a back 3, back 5, whatever. No, we should be playing a back 10 because we are leaking goals for fun, and it is ridiculous. We're leaking them cheaply. We're leaking them softly. Get rid of the set piece, coach. Then we give a goal away yesterday from a set piece. Do you know what? Where's it going to end? We are in serious trouble. Yes, last season I was a lot more positive about Gary O'Neill. Since that Coventry game, that's when it all seems to have gone wrong. And that game was the most winnable and the easiest game we could have got to a semi-final in years and years and years. Since that game, it's all gone downhill. What manager? Any of you guys on the screen now, you name me a manager which gets 1 win in 20 and keeps his job.
Name me a club in the 92 professional clubs in this country, any tier, that keep a manager with those stats.
So Fosun have come in, right? And we've had some great times, which were clearly down to Nuno and obviously the Mendes influence, right? There were, yeah. Now Fosun created these opportunities for us, and we've got to the point now where they're clearly not going to invest, but they think we're going to stop up, right? They're hoping that we're going to stop up on this shoestring budget, right? That is their hope, and that's what they're clinging on to. And these aren't football people. This is why all the football people around them, Gary O'Neill and his team, it's going to come good. We've got a team good enough to do this. No, we haven't. I agree with Hoops. Yes. Individually, we've got some great players. There is little cohesion out there. There's no point in dissecting yesterday and giving the positives and the negatives because, like I said, we're papering over a huge crack. Dave, we're in massive trouble.
Yeah, mate, I agree. We're in trouble. I mean, I feel really, really flat, down, depressed. You know, I'm like a happy, positive guy.
How can 30,000 fans in that stadium who are singing "You don't know what you're doing" to go now? How can we all be wrong? How can we all be wrong in wanting a centre half? How can we all be wrong in these ridiculous decisions in signing a goalkeeper for £10 million when we didn't need a goalkeeper? What's the point in having Bentley and King? What was the point in ever signing them players? If we're going to bring in another player for 10 million, yes. The narrative is clearly he's better with his feet than Jose Sarr, and Gary O'Neill wants to play from the back. We haven't got the personnel to play from the back. We just bring pressure on ourselves and make mistakes. We're low on confidence, and people are then going, "Oh, don't worry, we've got an easy running now." I don't buy all this bullshit neither, Dave, about the 10 goal. We've had the hardest running. Oh yeah, so what? We can only beat what's in front of us. This fixture list has come out of the computer. So what? These 10 games aren't defining our season, right? It goes over 40 games. It's the same for every club. It's just come out that we're in this position now. We will be in this position now if we stick with Gary O'Neill. Because, I mean, the comment he made before the game yesterday, it's not a must-win game, right? Whether you're bottom of the league or you're top of the league, every game is a must-win game. And when you're bottom of the league, holding the rest of the team up, and you're on 2 points, it's a must-win game. What gives him the right to go to the media and say this is not a must-win game? Where does he think wins are coming from? Because if we can't beat Crystal Palace at home and we've got 7 games coming up, which our fans are thinking are winnable, or Everton, because they're down the bottom, Southampton are now coming into form, we're low on confidence. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Dave,
yeah.
Just quickly, going on from what Jason said, and I agree with everything what Jason's just said as well. I said this a couple of weeks ago. We all know that to play this system, we needed another centre half. And ideally, we needed fullbacks. right?
Yeah.
Now, whether that means that you sell the 2 wing backs we've got for big money to buy the correct personnel to play this system.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're never going to change them 2 lads how they play football. Nori yesterday, I watched him go 4 times bombing up the pitch, loses the ball, we're in the shit big time.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
never going to change him, never.
Yeah.
But Jason's just come up with an interesting quote. These people are not football people. And he is 100% correct. And I've been saying this for 3 years, that these people will put us staring at the abyss. Now's the time. And I'll tell you what's really cemented it and what their plans are for this football club. There is no plan for this football club other than signing players like Andre, which we didn't need.
No.
Right? We did not need him. He has caused more problems than he's solved, right? He's now on the bench, okay? He is a very, very good footballer. I'm not doubting that. But sometimes you've got to go and get the correct pegs for the correct holes.
Yeah.
Now, they've gone and spunked. Now, this will be Matt Hobbs as well. For all he's done good, he's gone to Jeff Shee and he said, look, we can get Andre for 20 million. This kid's going to be worth 60.
Yeah.
Jeff Shee, not a football man, has then said, oh, 40 million quid profit. We better ditch the centre half, make Mosquera work. We'll bring
exactly
Alfie Pond up from the kids and we'll go with that. We've got enough to stay up, haven't we, Matt? Yes, we have, Jeff. We'll be all right. We'll finish 14th, 15th. Well, guess what? I'll tell you now, I'll accept defeat next week. If it means that they rid us of this manager, okay, I will willingly accept defeat, because my big concern next week is if we win, which I don't think we will. I think Southampton are now looking at us because we're saying, oh, we've got easy games. Everybody's looking at Wolves as 3 points. Get your head from out the fucking sand, because everybody's looking at us as the easy target.
Yeah.
And we are the easy target.
And you know what you can see? You can see our weaknesses. If we can see them, the opposition can clearly see them. Their football analysts will be looking at us just like a knife through butter.
Absolutely. But I'll go back to the thing with Andre. We spunked our centre half money on a player we didn't need.
Yeah.
Now, that for fact, that's like me saying to you, you know I'm a carpenter, Dave, I need a new circular saw, okay? And you say to me, I've been out and looked for your circular saw. I found a perfectly good one, but I bought you an hammer because this hammer's good. So I'm going to turn around to you and go, what the effing hell are you playing at? You're a clown. Now, why do us 5 here, and I'm reading the comments here, and I don't see anybody supporting the regime, as I call it, or the manager at the moment. Why can we see it? 30,000 people have started chanting, you don't know what you're doing. And this idiot at the top, who's running our club, is sticking by him. Does he not realise it's like a sand timer? You can't just keep turning it over and saying we've got more time, we've got more. It's going to, all them grains of sand, they're going to drain through.
You know what?
Football
is an industry like no other. The way it's run as a business. And I get these guys and I get the successful in China and I completely understand that. But they can't run a football team the way they run their other businesses. And it's as simple as that. And they're looking at P&L balance sheets. And I understand. And the answer isn't always to just chuck hundreds of million at it, right? But
look at Tommy Doyle, 4.3 million.
Yeah, exactly. But this situation was completely avoidable. And look, Sutty's hit the nail on the head with the Andre transfer. Andre is a very good player. Is he better than some of the centre midfielders we've got? Yes, he is. But the central midfield wasn't a weak point. We've got a plethora of central midfielders. It wasn't a weak point. The weak point was centre half. So we've got rid of Max Kelman and we've spunked the money, exactly as Sutty puts it, on a midfielder that we didn't need. Is it, like I said, is that midfielder better than Boubacar Traoré? Yes, of course he is, right? But we didn't need a central midfielder. That is not a weak area in this team. If we're conceding 92 goals, right, the weakness is clearly the defence. So let's get that right.
I think as well. I think the issue, and I think is ultimately these are commercial decisions being made. I think that's what we're saying. These are commercial decisions being made. Whereas we've gone, okay, Jeff, we've got this absolute gem from South America. He is going to be the Dogs, and let's get him in. But nobody within that football structure has gone, Jeff, yeah, he's going to be amazing. But should we just hold fire and let's sort out our first 11? So, it shouldn't be. If it's an either or, then it's not. It's, because you don't make that decision. Ultimately, it's lovely to have these players for future income, for future revenue, and you can apply a model like Brighton have done very, very successfully. And there's nothing wrong with this recruitment, by the way. But it can't be to the detriment, if the funds are tight for whatever reason, to where the issues are within the first 11.
And the joke is, if we go into this next window with this manager and he signs, or we sign, another central midfielder and not centre half, we wouldn't even be surprised, would we?
I think the reason why
we knew that was going to happen. I can't see how they can't see it.
As Zub said, that the decision to buy Andre is purely commercial, and they had a precedent for it, didn't they? And that's, as Keith calls him, the rat. They signed him for 37 and they sold him for 53, and we had Tommy Doyle, which was a great bit of business. I mean, that was a fantastic bit of business. I mean, he did one thing for us, didn't he, Nunes? He scored that goal against Chelsea.
That volley.
That was the only thing he ever did for us. He just ran into holes, into walls, and lost the ball, as he does at City now. I mean, it was a fantastic bit of business. And they see that, don't they? They just saw that. They thought, we signed this guy for 20 million, and as Keith said, he might get for 60 million. He won't go for 60 million though if he's not playing. So so we do need to, if they're doing that, and no doubt Jeff will have a word in whoever the manager is his ear, saying you've got to play this guy because we want to sell him in January.
The fact of the matter is that we've heard that from Gary and from Matt that they decided after the Liverpool match what they were going to do for this year. It was going to be a back four. Gary's talked about transfer not going as it was. The fact of the matter is they could have bought a defender in on deadline day. They had it there to do. If they'd have paid the extra money, they couldn't get it over the line. But then we hear from the sporting director, who is a really nice guy, by the way, who said, like, we did bring someone in, we'd send Santiago Bueno out on loan. That's actually been said. Yerson Mosquera, by the way, is an absolutely fantastic player, and he was brilliant. But you have to build in factors of suspensions and injuries, because if we hadn't learned anything from last year with what happened with the forwards, the midfield, quite rightly, the midfield was they built really, really well. They brought some great players in. Andre is a brilliant player, and I don't have any problem with him bringing him in, but you didn't fix the other things that need fixes. And I know we talked about the transfer window, but then we sent Hugo Bueno out on loan to Feyenoord, who's now playing in the Champions League as a left back. What
happens if Ran gets injured? Yeah, we'll have to play Doherty there, won't we? We've got no cover there.
There you go. We'll drop Alfie Pond right in the shit, shall we? A young man.
Well, the other thing to bear in mind, we have 4 players now on 4 yellow cards. One of them's Ait Nouri, the other one's Semedo, Joe Gomez, and the other one is Totti Gomez. So we're Totti Gomez with 3 of our defenders and 1 yellow card from a suspension on an area that's already weak, and then you don't count into things. So like it is a squad game. And what did you say?
Bueno's doing really well.
Yeah, Hugo Bueno apparently is doing really, really well over in Brighton.
Why would you? Why would we?
The series of issues that have happened that haven't been sorted. in the transfer window.
Why would we let any defenders go out on loan at all? Why? Why don't we put midfielder out on loan? Not a defender.
Obviously, I think Boubacar would have gone out on loan if he wasn't injured. Guys, we've now got well over 1,000 people watching live on the show. I hope you're enjoying it. If someone in the chat can put the result, the latest on the poll, that's great. I'm going to play the next international fan. This is Azia from Italy. As I say, I haven't had a chance to, so I'm listening to this fresh, the same as you. Let's see what she has to say.
Which ended 2-2 at home. So we now have 3 points. We collected 3 points in 10 matches. Bottom of the league, of course, relegation zone. I thought I saw a small light at the end of the tunnel. Last time against Brighton, we managed to score 2 at the very last minute, and I thought we were like getting out of this bad situation. I still think we're getting out extremely slowly, but I let myself believe this would have been a win. Palace have been playing without 2 of their best players for a long time, and they have been, let's say, poor for the whole season. That's rich coming from a Wolves fan saying that another team has been playing poor for the whole season, but it's just a matter of fact. We played horrible, so that's it. And there is always the same problem, which is the defense. The defense, the wrong substitutions, and the manager that we need to change. Very sorry, really sorry. Maybe it's rude to say that, but we are basically going down because of bad management. Because Wolves is not a top 3, it's not a top 5 team, but it's not a relegation zone team. It's not a championship team. We have a lot of potential, but we need to unlock it. It's useless to have good midfielders, good strikers if you do not have the defense. Because since the season started, the problem is mostly the defense. Once the opponents get into the defending area, they can do whatever they want. 80% of the time, they score. So we need to fix that as soon as possible. We're not going anywhere without this defense. I'm sorry for the lads, but something really needs to change. And I saw some positive today, though. 2 goals. Most of our players played good. Cunha was brilliant. He's my favorite. Gomez too. Ryan was a bit selfish today. He needs to share the ball more. He wants to score, we get it, but share the ball more. And Sarabia was very sorry, but those would have been 2 goals. For those who saw the match, those would have been 2 goals. And I would have been able to score that too. And I say that I would have been able to score that too because I have 2 pins in my feet. Half of my hip is in titanium. My right leg is in titanium mostly. And I still would have managed to score that. So I was extremely mad. These kind of errors are costing us so much too. Because, yes, the defense, but we also do these kind of errors, which are like unacceptable because he was there. He was there, the ball was there, and for 2 times he didn't score. So, I really do not know how to what to say, lads. Trying to see some positives in this situation, and next one against Southampton. I of course hope for the 3 points, but who knows? I really at this point I don't know. I'm just hoping.
Well, there you have it. Azia over in Italy, who, you know, what made me quite laugh there is she does struggle. She has got titanium in her legs and stuff like that, and she's saying that she could still do better.
Can I make a couple of points, Dave?
Yeah.
I think I'd prefer Azia in the dugout with an iPad as opposed to Gary O'Neill, because she did make some really good points then. But
she does. She knows her stuff, man.
She does. Look, so once again, Azia can see it exactly as it is, right? The only one thing I disagree on, and it's not just with Azia, it's with 70% of our fan base, is the scapegoating of Pablo Sarabia, right? Technically, he's probably one of the best players at the club.
He's the highest paid player as well at the club.
Yeah, I know he's the highest paid player. We've also got players out on over X amount of, Fabio Silva, for example, if we're going to dig players out on the salaries, we've got one who's out on loan.
No, I'm just saying, he played well against Brighton.
No, right, okay. Well, regardless of the money, right, this scapegoating, and we do it with certain players, and then it gets a bit of a bandwagon on it. Sarabia, he didn't have a great game yesterday, but he also come on and done some good work against Brighton, and he's being used, sparingly as a big part player. So it's going to be difficult for him to get up to the tempo of games, and he's coming into a team with very, very little confidence. But I just don't like the scapegoating of certain players unless it's Fabio Silva.
Yeah, Sooty.
Well, I think we've all come to the conclusion we're in deep shit here, to be honest. So things are going to change, haven't they, Dave? I mean, as Jason just said, you can't dig out individuals. He came on the week before Sarabia and
he played well.
Played well, yeah. So
yeah, he did.
But I'm not going to dig out individuals, because I think there are a lot of individuals, but we're not a team, are we? And that comes back to the manager, head coach, whatever you want to call him. When we had Nuno here, we had a bloke that had a philosophy that they all bought into. They all, as I've said to you time and time again, when he walked in the room, you shut up, you listened, and you were in no doubt about what you were doing. I watched this lot, Dave. Even things like silly little, we'll say it's silly little things. When Nuno was in charge, they used to come back out at half time. The warm-up was quite robust. They all had to do a structured warm-up. These lot are walking out onto the pitch. They're not fit. Defending, for me, and I'm no expert, but defending for me, Dave, starts with your front line. Your front line should be closing down. Jimenez used to do all that on his own. He'd go from one side of the pitch before he had his injury. He'd close down. He was a nightmare for centre-halves and full-backs. They hated playing against him. We just trot around. They're not fit, Dave. Nowhere near fit enough. I mean, he's actually pulled them out and said they're not fit enough. So if they're not fit enough, whose fault's that?
He's digging himself out there by saying they're not fit enough. It's your job to get them fit.
Yeah.
And so that's another great point. What he done to Strand Larson, he can only last 60, 70 minutes. Oh my good God. He's telling the opposition our weaknesses for a start. But more importantly, what is that doing for that young lad's confidence who's coming to play football from a different country, and he scored as many goals as he has done, and he's our top scorer in our disheveled side.
You like you say, you can't fault
just
Strand
not in any way, shape or form.
Can I just say this? 60 mile up the road in Nottingham, Nuno has got that team third.
Yeah, Chris Cooper's side, by the way, still.
If we
Steve Cooper
take them as individual players, not a team, as individual players, how many of their individual players are better or on a par with ours? Now, I'd probably take 2 or 3 of their players, to be honest. But there's a big difference here. They've got structure, right? They have to respect this man and do exactly as he says. We know how he works, right? I'd take him back in a heartbeat, that bloke. Right? We know how he works, right? But you have to do as you're told. If you don't do as you're told, you're out the door. I mean, and he's ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Now, you have to be that. Gary O'Neill, I mean, let's be honest. it seems to me he spent more time in Turkey over the summer having new things fitted than he did doing prep work for this team, because he's had a whole summer with them. No excuses this year. He's had a whole summer.
Yeah.
This is what makes me think when he came in 3 or 4 days before the previous season started, he's taken on the work that Lopetegui done. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have time to do anything. Now he's come in. He's done okay last season. Okay, it tailed off. Excuse me, it tailed off. But with Lopetegui's team, it was already set up. They knew what they were doing. He stayed there. He knew he was going, Lopetegui, but he stayed there and carried on doing the sessions. Okay. Now he's had time, 8 weeks or whatever it is. He has totally ballsed it up. It's so confusing. I sit there, stand there at times thinking, what are we doing? I mean, let's be honest. You've only got to freeze frame our final goal at Brighton when it was 4-on-1, and 11 seconds later we've scored an equaliser. That's not a plan.
Central midfielder who was back.
Yeah, that's not a plan. That's sheer luck, absolute luck, and we're reliant on luck at the moment. There's no plan, and if that's what we're reliant on, we might as well just chuck our membership of the Premier League in now, take the parachute payments and start prepping for next season, because we have not got a plan to get out of this. Now, I know people won't like this, and look, in the grand scheme of things, if I had a choice, I wouldn't like it, but we need a manager. My manager would be Conceição if I had my choice, but he won't come here. He won't come in. No. He ain't going to work for this owner, right? So what you got left is you've probably got a Potter and a David Moyes. Now, David Moyes will go in that game. Huh?
No.
The David Moyes.
Some people have said him as well.
David Moyes.
Ruud van Nistelrooy. I can't do that at all.
He will go in there and shake this lot up. He will get them fit, and he will start kicking arses. And I think they're so far in the comfort zone. And not only are they in the comfort zone, I don't think they actually know what one another's doing. I'm fed up of seeing stupid, shitty little videos of them on a training ground scoring the odd nice little goal. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see social media posts from individual players saying we're going to give it our best shot. I don't want to see it. What I want to see is structure on a pitch, 11 playing as a unit that are difficult to break down and that can break away at pace and score goals. Now, we're scoring goals. We've proved we can do that. But as a unit, a defensive unit, we are amateurish, shockingly bad. And that can only come down to the manager. And if Matt Hobbs was in agreement with this change to a back four without getting the personnel in, he needs the sack as well. Because it's been such a bad move that's put us in this situation.
I'm going to come back with some devil's advocate stuff now. Couple of things. Obviously, you've mentioned they don't know what you're doing. At the weekend, you made 3 changes. Gary O'Neill would say that, well, I made those 3 changes and we scored 2 goals. So I was right to make the changes.
He also picked the team that was 2-0 down. Carry on.
Pardon?
I said he also picked the team that went. Sorry, Dave.
1-0 down.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. He also picked the team.
He said that he brought on Mario Lemina, who did play so much better when he came on because they wanted a little bit more grit in midfield. I think the booing was mainly for taking Tommy Doyle off, to be honest. But he would say, I made the tactical changes. I made 3 changes and they made an impact. And we scored, and we scored, quite rightly, we've scored some really, really good goals. They were really good goals. And if he would say that, he would also say that against Brighton, he changed it, as we discussed, and it made a difference. So, what he said about the back 5. I'm just saying that he would say that, right? with regards to Gary O'Neill. He would also say that the players are playing for him. I was really impressed with Joe Gomez yesterday. On about 4 minutes, he was giving it to the crowd. You could see he was really, really fired up. He was my man of the match yesterday. I thought he was really led, really fighting. I've been impressed with Strand Larsen. He scored a good goal again. He's scoring goals. He's making the runs. Cunha was great and stuff like that. But defensively, like what you're saying, we keep making the same mistakes. I know you said one was off a set piece, but I think the first one was kind of off a set piece. It was the second phase, wasn't it? Sarr was having a really getting upset because he went for the ball, but I don't think he called for it. And it was Strand Larsen tried to head it out, did the right thing. But again, it was at that far post and they scored. Now, look, I think a lot of the stuff that comes out as well from Gary when he talks, he does seem to sort of put his excuses in before he goes. Hoops made the point about Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, they were flying at the end of last year. They won 6 out of 7 towards the end. Everyone thought that we were going to do so well at the start of this year. They started really, really poorly. They got that first win. They beat Villa in midweek. But they had an extra game on Wednesday. And, as you said, they lost 2 players. Then we went to Brentford. They had 9 players out when we went to Brentford. And we could have lost 10 that day. Sarr's performance, I think, has improved and gone up because he's got a point to prove because Johnson's coming. He seems to be playing a lot better. Yeah, he made 1 rip, but, he seems he's got a point to prove. But, like, the thing with me and where I'm at with it now, I'm so fed up. I think we're all so fed up because we can't hold on to a lead. We led against Newcastle. We lost. We led and was so on top against Aston Villa, and we passed the ball about for 4 minutes when they were down to 10 men at the end of the first half instead of going for the juggler to kill them. That must have been an instruction that came from the bench. And then we lost. Against Chelsea, we played really well, but they sussed us out at the start of the second half. Win the ball off Ryan Aitnouri, pass it down the thing, and bang, 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 3 goals. Fell apart. Brighton, we fought back. But, like, against Liverpool, we played really well. We got back into it, and then we concede straight after. Again, it's so naive. Manchester City, one last corner that we had to deal with. They didn't. I know we talk about things, but really, we didn't deal with that final corner, and we lost. And it's moments of concentration and this mentality. Brighton last week was brilliant. That last 5 minutes, it's the only joy that I've had really in the last 7 months watching Wolves. That moment, you were there. It was absolutely glorious, and it was kind of like maybe. And we did start on the front foot, I thought, against Palace. But over the game, against a Palace team that had played on Wednesday with most of their main squad, with 2 of their main players out, they were the better side. They created more chances, and we got away with one at the end. And, we got a bit lucky with that. And I'm just like, I'm a bit like with Sutty and all of you. I don't dislike Gary O'Neill as a person, but as Emma's like, Emma's with you. She's like, he needs to go because we wrote a piece for the BBC Sport last week papering over the cracks. And if we get a result against Southampton, it's like what Jason says, is it just putting a nice smell on a turd? Is it just going to mean in post? And I feel like at the moment we're like the Walking Dead, sleepwalking into a relegation on the hope that it's going to turn. And judging on that game against Palace yesterday, which was a home game against a team at the bottom with injuries, we'd had a whole full week with a fully fit squad pretty much. And we were lucky to come out with a draw in the end. And to me, that's kind of like, well, if that's how it is against Palace, and it started to turn, and I'll tell you what, after they got that first goal, Palace, we could have. They were so close to getting a second. The boos and the things had already. If they'd have got a second goal yesterday, Molineux was there to go. You could feel it. It was simmering under the thing. It was like the frustration. And the Wolves fans over the last 7 months have been magnificent. They have stuck by the team. They have travelled away. They've sang their hearts out. They've sang Gary's name. They've sang the player's name. They've stayed behind the team. They've given them the support. They're still giving the support. They're trying. We're doing our bit to try and thing it and being patient. The fans have been so patient. And what happens if we beat Southampton and then there's 2 weeks of the international break that goes by? We play Fulham, we lose. Bournemouth just beat City. And then win another 2. It feels to me like it almost leaves. If you keep doing the same thing, it's the definition of madness. It's the definition of madness. So, like, something has to change. And the only thing that can possibly change, right now, is the manager. And that gives everyone a clean break, a fresh start to get on board with, get rid of all the negativity that's going on, a fresh voice in the changing room. And, you know, you're going about maybe Conceição wouldn't come. I don't think he, maybe he wouldn't. But, like, we have got a blooming talented squad of players that any manager should be absolutely delighted to come and take charge of, because there's so much talent in that group with a January transfer window coming up that they can hopefully strengthen these key areas, which I'm hoping so much that they've got a plan for doing that as soon as January 1st kicks in, that any manager, even though we're in a dire situation with the situation now, should be able to think, I can take this and from rock bottom, get them up the table and then go forward. And you'd hope that someone could do that. But, like, will it happen? That's the question. Will it happen, Jason?
Great words, by the way, Dave. Great words. Flipping it. That was like a eulogy then. Everyone was just silent. Everyone was just silent.
I'm so down about it, man. I'm so upset about it. I could literally.
We all share your passion. You know what?
Breaking.
I'm sure Gary O'Neill is a thoroughly nice guy and all the above, but listen, things change, and we, you know, it's like I'm on my third marriage. My first wife, I got divorced. We stopped getting on, and it didn't work out, and we had to part ways. And this is, you know, it's a very similar situation, a different analogy, obviously. But listen, we can speculate if certain managers are coming, certain managers wouldn't come, etc. But the longer we leave it, the less chance that we've got of getting a manager we want and the style of manager we want, because then we're going to have to bring in someone who's going to make a quick impact. Equally, not many managers would, you know, money talks, Dave, you know, it's there's not much loyalty about in football anymore. So, look, if we chuck the right figure at even the wrong person or the right person, they will come for the money. But when a team's flat bottom of the league and we've got X amount of wins and the jungle drums have been rumbling and they know what the ownership of this football club and stewardship is like, that's going to put also people off. People will still come and do the job. We're not going to not get a manager, but it's who we want. But we are going to get to the point where we are just going to be bringing in some sort of impact manager. But is it going to be too late? Because the thing is,
I think, Jason, that's exactly the question. The longer you leave it, the less chance any manager.
Well, the longer you leave it as well, the more pressure there's going to be. The more pressure there's going to be. We've already said 1.32 points. You know, it's all right for Gary O'Neill to say, "Oh yeah, we're going to be safe. We've got a good enough team." Because we've got a good enough team. None of us dispute that we've got a good enough team. But with him at the helm, we are not going to stop up. And the longer it goes on, we've got less chance of stopping up. And the new manager coming in has got less chance of stopping up. So this decision should have been made. You know, I'm not saying in the summer, but this decision should have already been made this season. But equally, Fosun aren't going to be forced into this decision. They're going to go as long as they possibly can. There's going to be the happiest clapper on social media screaming, "Get Gary O'Neill out," before they're going to sack that manager. So, but this is why I'm thinking by then it will be too late.
Brian, want to come in with your thoughts, mate? I mean, I'm where you're at, Gary.
I agree with what Jason said there, but there's something else we have to think about as well. We don't want to be in the situation we had found ourselves in with Nick McCarthy and Terry Connor taking over, and also when Bruno Lage got sacked and we had the youth team managers in charge. You know, we don't want a situation like that.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, remember that we didn't win a game, and you know, but at that stage there, we did attract Lopetegui, who was, you know, the third time we'd approached him, obviously with some, well, I wouldn't say false promises, because we did sign 6 players in the January window, and they're all still there. Those 6 players are Bentley, you know, but the other 5 players, you know, didn't make an influence. But we don't want to end up in a situation. But I can't believe, from what we've experienced with Fosun in the past, that they'd have a plan now to have something in place. Especially when
I don't think they've got a plan.
I don't think they
certainly haven't got a plan on who they're going to replace this manager with. I actually joked with a West Ham fan earlier. I said, listen, I'd happily swap Gary O'Neill back for Lopetegui.
Yeah, well,
and I mean it as well. I know a joke, but I do mean it.
Actually, talking about West Ham, I met somebody yesterday in the casino before the game, and I met him after. And he used to be a Wolves youth team player around about the time that Tim Flowers was there. And he told me last night that he came out the ground and somebody shouted across to him, and it was Kevin Nolan from used to be the coach at West Ham. Assistant coach at West Ham. He's the under-20 England coach at the moment, because when Lopetegui went in the summer, he emptied out David Moyes' background staff. Now, whether he's there, because obviously O'Neill knows him from his West Ham days, so whether he's there he wouldn't be there assessing any under-20 players for the England team, would he? I mean, we haven't got any.
Kevin Nolan was on Radio 5 Live last night at the game.
Yeah, was he? He was analysing, was he? I was thinking maybe he was there, because they've got a vacancy now, haven't they, for set piece coach.
Gary's taken over control of that, as Jason said.
Yeah. But my main point is that I can't believe that Fosun will have a plan in place, and we're all talking about Moyes or Potter, who seem to be the people who are available. I don't think we'll attract Potter. I think he's got bigger ambitions than us.
Well, apparently about a couple of weeks ago, it was reported that both Potter and Moyes have said they both would be interested. Okay. I mean, this is again speculation. We don't know.
There's only 20 Premier League clubs, right?
Yeah,
that's all there is. So they can't be as picky as they think that they can be. I mean, they can't.
Well, they're not. None of those Potter or Moyes are going to get a team that's in the top half of the table. They're going to be getting a team and so that they don't come up. Hoops, where are you with Gary? Now it's like, he did time up, or who would you want to come in? Does the decision need to be made Monday morning tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I've been Gary out really for a little while, to be honest. So in terms of next manager, I think Moyes would bring you pragmatism. It'd bring you experience. It potentially bring you organisation. It wouldn't be the most charismatic manager, should I say? And you know, West Ham fans will say that, but he ultimately brought them a trophy. So
that's the guy with the European trophy like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Well, exactly that, and that's the thing, really, you know. And he has got a good pedigree. So, look, I think for me, Dave, when you referenced, you know, a little while ago, you talked about moments, and what we have with O'Neill, and we've had for some time, are moments, haven't we? We're a moments team. We have moments in games, but unfortunately, we don't seem to have control of a game for a long, sustained period of time. I think as Suddy referenced, we don't have an identity, we don't have control. So I think what we need in terms of the new head coach is someone that has a clear identity and is someone perhaps a little bit more pragmatic, not as cavalier in some of his approach. And yeah, it seems so simplistic to say, but somebody who will return a little bit of basics. But in terms of who's out there, yeah, other than Constantine, the ex-Porto coach, you're looking at Potter or Moyes, both with experience, and actually may give Potter an opportunity to resurrect his career a little bit. You know, after the Chelsea experience, had massive pedigree at Brighton, quite, you know, deservedly so. Was tipped again, returned ill to be England manager and so forth. Went to Chelsea, Chelsea being Chelsea, came out the other side of it. So either of those would be great. But in terms of when, it should have been a few weeks ago, in my opinion. And I hope it's now. And I've, you know, I hope we get a refresher on Monday morning to say somebody comes in. There's time to do it. He's got the players. And I think either of those, I believe, would do a better job than the current holder of the head coach at Wolves.
I just want to come in quickly on that. It's all about timing as well, because we're going to get to a point where other teams are going to start sacking their managers. And then these managers that are waiting in the wings are going to get the jobs. And then we really are going to be in the shit. Like, really.
Sorry, Dave, can I just say something else there? Fosun don't like spending money at the moment. And they're certainly not going to want to spend money on somebody who's not going to be employed by them anymore. So that's a big obstacle in the way there. He's just signed a 4-year contract.
Yeah, but like,
you have to pay him out.
Like I said earlier, that's a hell of a lot cheaper than getting this Premier League club relegated.
Yeah.
Their brand, which, let's be honest, they're more interested in the brand than they are in winning trophies or being in any form of success. And like I've maintained, if we get 16th, 17th this season, they'd have took that at the start of the season. So, listen, trust me, getting rid of Gary O'Neill and Sean Derry, and the set piece coach has already gone, is a small price to pay to keep EPL status. And the longer it goes on, the you know, the more chance we've got of getting relegated. Fact.
What hasn't it is the length of the contract, because for football reasons.
Oh, sorry.
Jeff Hughes cut the internet off in Penn.
What I meant there, Jason, was that they might get rid of him eventually, but when they're desperate, when they're really desperate.
I don't think they're in any rush to get rid of him, by the way, for a number of reasons, right? And they don't want someone to come in who's going to challenge their supremacy as well, and that's a fact. So they're going to be very, very careful on who they take on in what they would class as a mistake, and getting someone like Lopetegui in who's going to rock the boat. That is not what they want. I didn't say who my choice would be. My choice would definitely be David Moyes. David Moyes build teams from the back. He gets the defence right first, and that is exactly what we need to do.
Right. Sutty, just one little thing. Brian referred to it earlier, that him and you were calling for a long-term contract for Gary O'Neill. How would you respond to that now?
Sorry.
At the point.
Well, I'll hold my hands up and say I got that one wrong, Dave.
Takes a big man, Sutty.
There was a lot of call for Jeff and Matt and Bosun to tie Gary O'Neill down. I think what we were surprised with is the length of the contract being a 4-year contract, because that's boxed them into a corner. Now it's all gone wrong. We're going to hear now from Noah in the States. You're going to have chance, guys, to ask your questions of Jason, of Sutty, of Hoops, or Brian, or anyone on the panel. Any question that you want to ask them, this will be your chance after heard from Noah.
Noah here from sunny. It was kind of gloomy earlier today, though. Lovers Point, California, Monterey. So it ends Wolves 2, Crystal Palace 2. Yeah, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore. Just really frustrating. Seemed like a tale of two halves. I wasn't able to watch the game, actually, but it seemed like a tale of two halves. First half scenes, from what I hear, was fairly close. And the second half, it really kind of opened up, which was well, by the way. Beautiful Monterey Bay ocean right behind me. Just like this little walk on the beach. But yeah, tough result again. It feels more like a loss than it does a point. I mean, I guess for either side, really, right? Palace, they needed 3 points coming into this as well. So, man, it's discouraging. It really is discouraging, you know? It feels like you can't get that monkey off your back. And Wolves have stayed bottom of the league today. But still some promising signs in the attack, at least. But yeah, I don't know what to say anymore, man. I don't know what to say anymore. It's just, but the season goes on, and we just have to keep pushing. We just have to keep pushing. It's got to come at some point, but still, it feels like it was 3 points we needed to have, but we didn't get that today. So, anyways, always Wolves. And on to next weekend, I guess.
Dave, that video was brilliant. It was like he was breaking up with his missus.
Mate, do you know what the funny thing I was going to say? It's interesting you should say that, because there's a guy.
Yeah.
He's a really nice lad. He supports Wolves. He's picked Wolves. Fair play to him. He's not a glory hunter, is he? He's over in a beautiful area of the world on that beach, and he's depressed. And he's all that far away, and he's depressed.
Let me tell you something, Dave. If I lived in California and the sun was out and I could hear the waves crashing, do you think I'll be going into a boozer to watch this shower shit? No, I would not. What is he doing? Mate, what's his name?
Noah. He's a great lad, lovely lad.
Noah.
I just like to say, Dave, it was a good job he wasn't walking on the top of that cliff that he was.
Yeah, he might have been flipping diving off. Noah, let me tell you something, son. Support Man City, support Chelsea, support Arsenal, support Liverpool. Do not put yourself through this any longer.
You don't mean that, mate. You've got to stick. You've got to stick with your team.
No, I'm thinking of swapping.
No, you ain't, mate. No, you ain't.
You're saying like Jeff Shee there.
Exactly.
If you want to win something, support somebody else.
Yeah, I might do it.
Just before we get on to the questions, I do want to make everyone aware about the offer that we've got going on from FOCO. The link is in the description. If you want to go over to Monterey Bay in California, you can get your hat, your nice floppy hat. That is reversible there. Or you can get yourself, Jason's got one of these knocking around somewhere, if I can find it. It's the nice shirt. Or you can get yourself, Jason, some Christmas.
I'm gonna go and get it on.
You've got it. Is he gonna go get it on? Yeah. So you can get all sorts on there. You can even get your mug with your Wolves #1 fan as well. There's loads of stuff. It's proper official license. You got your gnomes. You got your, you've got your really nice rug. I've got one of these rugs here. They're actually really warm for watching the telly. Blanket, sorry. So you've got all sorts of different things. But if you use the link below and use alwayswolves 15, the code, you have to use the link below with the code. You do get 15% off. And if you do, like Jason, turn to support another team, you get 15% off using that link and that code on everything else as well. But looks like Jason's gone to get the stuff on. So let's have a look at some questions. Noah's at. Oh, there he is. There he is. Mate,
Look at this.
You absolutely rock it, mate.
Fits like a glove. I don't
There
look
you
like,
go.
I don't look a bit like Johnny Vegas.
You just need, mate, you need the Wolves floppy hat to go with that, and you're sorted.
Look at that, guys. Pure
It's
quality.
like a glove on a foot, that does, Jace.
Thanks for that, Sooty. My missus will pick up Moldy. I've got it out of the case.
One other thing, whilst we're talking about Jason with fashion, that we should mention, is that Jason did put a comment on Twitter, which I did agree with his comment. He said about 40 points, and I said your point stands, but I think it's probably 34 that'll keep us up. And Jason has made a commitment,
and I will,
which will make priceless TV. What's your commitment, Jason? Tell everyone.
If we get to 34 points, I'll come on this show naked. You won't see anything, guys, but I'll come on this show naked, and I will.
There you go.
I'll be absolutely stark naked.
So if we get to 34 points,
Dave, it's a safe bet. We're not getting to 34 points. We're not going to get to 34 points by next season.
Well, Noah from Telford replied to that. Noah, he's not from Telford, but his surname says, "Trust me as well. All the City fans and Arsenal fans out here give him a tough time. But truth be told, I have ESPN, and I'll still watch Wolves if we get relegated."
Nah, I was only joking. Listen, these fans, and you're quite right, Dave. You know, these fans from all corners of the globe. The only ones I don't trust are the Chinese supporters, and it's because I remember seeing a Leicester meme years ago, and when they won the league, there was halls and halls of these Leicester fans, and you just know they wasn't going to be supporting them in the Championship. But listen, what Wolves have done in going global like they have is fantastic, and I'm sure these supporters will keep supporting us, and of course they will. There's going to be some that won't, obviously. The core of them will, but you know, this global commodity that the club's become is at real risk of being lost.
First question is from a very lovely man, cheerful Chris Humphreys. For the panel, where would you like to store Gary's iPad?
Now, he wants us to say up Gary's arse, and I don't think we should say that.
You just did.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Ellie says, this is one of our members. If you become a member, just become a member tonight, we will put the link to the members Discord group that you can get in. Lots of conversation in between games, during games that goes on. They talk about everything. We will put the link on the community tab, on the members community tab, if you want to get onto that as well. But thank you if you become a member. Ellie said, if we get relegated, who do you think we will stay and who will go? Because I don't see many staying. Who wants to answer that one?
Is she asking about the players or the fans?
I think the players.
Well, I'm going for a start. Who's going to stay? Well, let's go through the team now. Sarr ain't going to stay. Yeah. Sam Johnston might. Nelson Semedo, his contract's going to be up anyway, so he's going. Nouri ain't going to stay. Craig Dawson will be 47. Who else? We got Totti Gomez. He ain't going to stay. He's an international footballer. Let's go into midfield, although we've got 100 of them. Andre ain't going to stay. Is Lamina going to stay? Joe Gomez? Come on. Like Sooty said earlier, it will be an absolute fire sale like we've never, ever seen before. This isn't like getting relegated under Steve Morgan and Mick McCarthy. This isn't like getting relegated under Sir Jack Hayward and Dave Jones. This will be catastrophic like you've never, ever seen before.
Okay. Sooty, there's a question here for you from Phil Bowdler. Realistically, which manager would you prefer at Wolves?
If I could have him, I'd have Conceição.
Yeah.
But he's the nearest manager that we'll get to Nuno. I know a Portuguese lad who's a Porto supporter, and he said he is tough. There'll be no fanning around off him. He'll go straight in there and he'll command the dressing room. He is who I would have. But will he come? I'm concerned, well, very concerned, because as was said publicly in the press a couple of weeks ago, all managers now know all about Wolves owners.
Yeah.
That doesn't bode well with me at all.
Okay. Question here is Hoops. You want to answer this one? Craig Berry, Dawson Semedo, Lamina, and Sarabia are all out of contract next June. Would you keep any of them?
The first three.
What? I mean, in terms of, well, it's not a question of if you would keep, is it? It's their wages. I mean, yeah, the latter one, Sarabia, as you've alluded to, you know, would be a difficult one to keep, and I can't see him being a championship player, to be honest. He just doesn't fit that mould. To be honest, I can't see any of them. So Dawson, you could maybe make a case for in terms of being, you know, a championship defender, and that may be that part of his career where he's going to be. So maybe Dawson and Lamina, as much as I like Semedo and Sarabia, that's a non-starter.
When did we sign Semedo? Semedo, what do you know? We don't know. Who's this Semedo?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll get rid of him as well. So yeah, well, but it's like you said, they're big contract players, aren't they? So you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see big changes.
Gaz Wolves says, and anyone can answer this one. Regardless of if we change head coach, can we realistically expect any kind of investment in players from Fosun in January?
And the answer to that is simply yes, we can, because they will have two budgets. And I've spoke to you about this, and I know this, and I spoke to you about this earlier on one of the other shows. They have got two budgets, and I know this firsthand. A budget if we're okay, and a budget if we're in the shit. And this is why I can't see why they've let it get to this point anyway, because we're in the shit. So they are going to spend a fortune in January because they're going to have to. Why are they going to do it? To win trophies? No, to purely attempt to preserve EPL status. But
they've done it before, haven't they? So of
course they have. They've got a track record of it. Don't spend anything in the summer, or you know, or sell all your best players, get all the money out of them, and then January, shit, that time again.
Yeah.
A question for Sutty from Stephen Mayo. Does Sutty have any spare wooden nails he can board our goal up?
You need chainmail on that.
Yeah, I've got some big metal sheets, some sight sheets.
Yeah, that's it.
I could put behind Saar. I'll weld them to the goals. We won't have to rely on nails and timber.
They'll be welded. I like that. Brian, and these vlogs and food reviews, would you keep Jose Sarr in goal? Would you put Sam Johnson back in?
I think I'd stay with Sarr at the moment. I think I'd stay with him. Actually, he wasn't too bad yesterday. His distribution wasn't that bad, was it really, yesterday? So, yeah, I'll probably stay with him. Johnson, although he made 5 brilliant saves at Brentford, even though they scored 5, he made 5. But I don't know. I just think Sarr's a better goalkeeper than him. But one thing about that though, it has bringing Johnson in has probably put him under a bit of pressure. He had no pressure from Bentley, did he? So he's put a bit of pressure on him. So maybe he's playing. But similarly with Lamina, you know, I think Lamina's had an awful season up to now. You know, I mean, there's a lot of goals that have been, you know, attributed to him that we've conceded. And especially in Brentford, 3 goals you could put down to him. But yesterday, when he came on, he's got the pressure of Tommy Doyle now, so he's got to perform, and you know, and so it's always good to have pressure on there. I think so. Yeah, keep him at the moment.
RWUK says in reply to Jason, 34 points. He says, I hope we go down now and only get 33 points so Jason can come on.
33 points was ironically the points that we got when we went down under Dave Jones. And by the way, that was not Dave Jones' fault. I'm a good mate of Dave Jones. That was not his fault. Once again, that was
investment.
That was absolutely ridiculously poor investment. And I wouldn't blame Sir Jack in any way, shape or form. Because it's a different animal, it's a different beast, it's a different time. So
anyone can answer this, just whoever comes up first. Darren Timmins, do the panel think it's time for Fosun to sell up and get new owners to put money where their mouth is? It's not that easy to sell a club, though. It would take time, but whoever wants to answer that question.
I'll say something there, Dave. I said this in a private thing with Sooty the other day. If you won 180 million quid on the lottery, right, in the Euro lottery, would you put any of that money near a football club?
No,
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't put. You might buy a box or something like that. You know, that's about it, as far as it would probably go, wouldn't it? You know, you certainly wouldn't like want to buy a football club. And this is the point. I don't know. I'll say it anyway. I'll say it anyway. Why does any business want to buy a football club?
Ego driven.
Can I just answer that?
Go on, Cynthia. Go on.
Global advertisement.
Yeah.
They are a multi-corporate business. Advertising costs a fortune on a global footing. Absolute. Honestly, you wouldn't believe. I know how much it costs. You know, if you go into these shopping centres and you see the screens, and you might have Marks and Spencers come up for 10 seconds, and then Boots come up. That costs per month in that one shopping centre tens of thousands of pounds. On a global scale, we're talking bingo numbers. The Premier League is watched by billions of people every week. And when you see Fosun International flashing up on them screens going around that pitch, that is saving them an absolute fortune. It's the best way to advertise their company on a global scale. We are not here for football purposes. We are here for global advertising and nothing else.
Good answer.
But the answer to the question, Dave, is that who would they sell to? You know, I mean,
but this is the thing, and I've maintained this, that there's not obviously billionaires dropping off trees, is there? But the problem is what Fosun have got is day by day the stock is dropping, and it is because of the position that we're in. And if we're going to the Championship, then obviously they bought this to sell it eventually. They haven't bought it to keep onto it forever. They've bought it to sell it eventually. So this is why EPL status is so important to them, and this is why I can't believe they run this club the way they do.
Rick reacts, as we don't seem to win, would you give Rodrigo, Lima, Forbes or Guedes more game time? Who wants to answer that one?
I'll answer that. Lima played for the under-21s on Monday night, I think it was. He went off after 80 minutes with an injury. And by the way, Kuna went to watch that game at Kiddie, which is fantastic of him, isn't he? He's a real Kuna. But Rodrigo, I don't know what's happened there. I mean, he looked really good in pre-season, didn't he? And I don't know. Gary doesn't rate him for some reason. Forbes is apparently our fastest player. Apparently, he's the second fastest player in the Premier League. Yeah, but when Brighton, when he came on at Brighton, he prefers to play on the left. He doesn't like this inverted winger thing coming in on the right on his right. He doesn't like that. He wants to go on the outside on the left. That's what he did at Ajax. He never took his fullback on. I was surprised at that, and that must have been down to instructions from this manager we got. You know, he's got blinding pace, and he never took the fullback on. Weird. Guedes, I'd definitely start the next game instead of Sarabia. I think he put a shift in when he came on. You know, set the goal. Well, him and Kuna set the goal up, the second goal. I'd definitely play him again. Yeah, but Lima got injured the other day, and also it's very difficult for him to drop Semedo. I mean, Semedo.
Well, he might have to soon if he picks up another yellow card. Next question from JS96. Who's your favourite boozer on a match day? I'm going to change that. Where do you like to go on a match day?
Electric.
I've been there for years. I go normally to the Duke of York in town.
Brian?
Mine changes. I tend to go to the Style if I'm running a bit late because it's very close. Walking up Molyneux Alley. It's a nice proper old boozer. Or we also like the dive bar in town because, saying that now because it's really quiet, but that might give them a few more people going in. So cut that bit out. So, but no, the Style is probably my go-to.
Brian?
Well, I've got a number of places, Dave. Not so much boozers, but if I'm driving, I can't drink anyway. But if I'm on the train, I'll where do I go? Anywhere really. Anywhere that sells beer. I used to like the what's that place called? The Posada place. You remember that? You know that
Yeah.
place?
Yeah,
Opposite
in
the
the
old
centre of
Garage.
town. Yeah.
I like that place. Yeah, it's quite good. That is. The casino's fine.
Yeah, I
Isn't
should
it?
tell everyone about Genting. I mean, we do pop into Tunnels because it's nice there as well. But
Yeah, I
like
like the malls as well. Yeah.
Genting Casino, Wolverhampton, it's got comfy chairs. It has the matches on. It's got a sports bar. The beer's cheap. They do food. We had fish and chips after the game last night. They do curry. They do burgers. They do everything. And if you go in with your match day ticket, you get 25% off. Plus, you get entered into a draw to get corporate hospitality tickets with myself and another member of the Always Wolves team for the Man United Boxing Day game or Leicester away. So
Dave, do you have to be a member?
No, they've changed
Okay.
it now. So as long as you're
Yeah,
18,
because historically I've always associated casinos. You had to be a member and sign up because I did think about that. So no, and other people might want to know that as well. So
no.
Yeah,
They've changed it. You used to be, but like now you can just walk in now. As long as as long as you look 25 or above, they might ask for to prove your age if you.
Yeah, you're going to struggle hoops.
Yeah, but like basically, as long as you're 18,
You're 24.
you can walk in. You
But
don't
nice
have-
shirt on.
the where the sports bar is and where the food is, it's separated from all the tables, so you can just sit in there. There's a lot of people that go in. They put the sport on. You can watch the match, the 12:30 match and stuff. And on a match day from 12 midday until 5 hours after kickoff, you get 25% off food and drink as well. And it's there's quite a few people that went in the weekend that were enjoying it. It's quite
also,
nice.
Hoops, membership doesn't cost you anything. If you want to become a member, you just fill a form in. That's it.
Okay, cool. No,
Cost you
good to know.
anything. It's just easy getting.
It's nice and relaxing. They don't bother you. You can just sit there and just have a drink if you want. So that's fine. Just having a look through any questions.
There's a good one here. Where is the casino in town?
Temple Street. Temple Street.
Temple Street.
Yeah, it's really nice. Honestly, you got little booths, tables, and there's also like sofas that you can sit on as well. So it's really it is quite relaxing if you like that sort of thing. If you like where it's really really busy, but it's quite chilled out in there. To be fair, I'm just running through. How long before fans really start protesting with their feet, Sutty?
With their feet.
That was yesterday.
That
was yesterday.
A karate chop.
I think by not going to the games, I think that started to happen to a bit this year because obviously because the season tickets were hiked up and they've overestimated the demand. That they were never going. The people were always complaining, I can't get a ticket because they were never going to general sale. Well, every game this year has gone to general sale, I think, at home. And now we're coming into these lot of fixtures.
Well, they've overestimated demand because a load of greedy bastards, Dave. That's why.
Well, I think because there's probably around about 8,000, 9,000 people had expressed an interest in getting a season ticket. But
they're regretting that now, Dave.
It went into the 7,000s to sell out. So that tells you that a lot of people just.
I bet they're regretting it now,
on the
Dave.
waiting list now.
There's one of our members, Sutty, you'll know him, and Brian Merv, really lovely bloke. He's a member. He supports the channel. He does his membership. He's on our private members Discord group. Really top lad. He goes with his lad to a lot of games. Yesterday was the first game that he'd been to this year, and I said, "Why?" He said, "Just can't afford it, Dave." And it's like, he went because it was also Samosa Saturday. And by the way, Samosa Saturday, it was proud to help again yesterday. Record amount raised, over 6,000 for Dementia UK and for the foundation. We've got, thank you for the super chat. With this is an Aston Villa fan who's sending super chat. So as he sent a super chat, I'm going to put it on the thing. He said, Villa fan here. He says, not a chance we'll go down. 3 worse than you. Gomez and Andre, 2 very good CMs. Look awful at centre back. Get O'Neill out. Get O'Neill out. He's a proper manager.
He's not a proper manager.
Get O'Neill out. Get a proper manager. I think he's what.
But you know what? There's 3 teams worse than you. That's what Gary O'Neill is hoping for. That's what Fosun is hoping for. Yeah. That is what they're praying for. But guess what? The league table won't lie at the end of the season, and we'll see if there's 3 worse teams than us.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And that's the thing. You at the moment, no, because after 10 games, you start to see you always start to see the table, and we're bottom at the moment.
And what we've got to do is start getting European form to stave off relegation. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know, it's it would get there.
Hey, Dave, are we going to have a quiz tonight?
A quiz? No.
Look, I don't know about you, Brian, but I've got work tomorrow.
Here's a question, look. Who are
I've got to get up with my kids, Brian.
Who are the 8 teams in the quarterfinals?
Flipping it, Brian. Think it's a race.
In the quarterfinals. Look, there's the badges there. Look, from in the quarterfinals when we got to the quarterfinal. You know, whatever year it was.
Yeah, you better keep that, Brian, because we're never getting there again.
You want to frame that, Brian?
There's us.
I'm going to make this the final question.
Wear that, Brian.
I'm going to make this the final question. We're coming up to 2 hours. And, guys, we've still got literally across also our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And someone put in the chat the final poll results, please. We've got over 1,000 people, 2 hours in, almost still watching the show. 1,000 people.
That's incredible, but considering there was 2,000 empty seats at the stadium yesterday. I'm well impressed.
They've all come here. Final question, everyone, to finish on. Brian Hoops, Jason Sutty, and also can you give your score prediction for Southampton, please? Question for all: who's going down this season, and what's your score prediction for Southampton, Brian?
Gosh, right at this moment, I think we're going down. If we don't change something, we're going down.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not. But you got to look at Southampton and Ipswich, and of the other ones, it's easy to say Leicester because they came up, didn't they? Yeah. But it's going to be somewhere like that. I can't see Palace being in it. They've got too many good players there. So those 3 that came up, really, hopefully, but it could be us. It could well be us. Score on Saturday, 4-0 to us, which I'm hoping for, because then I can walk around Southampton with my Wolves scarf on and take the
no! What? We're going to have to do a drugs test on you, Brian. Just a random drugs test. If you can just urinate into a bottle, send it to Dave. We need to check it for any substances.
No, can he send it to you, please? He sent it to you rather.
Yeah,
I don't
send it to me.
A bottle of urine. Thank you. He can send it to you.
Oh, now.
Dave, there's a reason in my thinking there. Because last week at Brighton, I said it could be 4-4, and it was half of that. 2-2
That's
so
right.
if I say 4-0, it might be 2-0. It might be 2-0. And tell your dad that, Dave, as well, because you know what his favourite prediction is.
You can all wait with bated breath till Thursday when he gives his score prediction. Although you might know because I did it at the casino this week before I went home. Hoops and what's Howler thinking?
I don't know. It's past his bedtime, to be honest. But I think, do you know what? As kind of, I wouldn't say negative as it's been. It's probably been realistic. You'd probably say we're going to go down. However, I'm going to be a little bit more positive and say we'll pull off a little bit of an escape and we'll have a great second half of the season. And I'll go with Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich to go down. That's what I hope, obviously. And then the weekend, it's our games can go anyway, can't they? We're likely to score, but we're likely to concede as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's another 2-2. So I'll go with that.
Carl has just put the poll results. So this is really interesting because I did the poll very much like this probably about 6 weeks ago, Sooty, I think it was, and it was about 77% to keep Gary O'Neill at that point. And
I think the 11% should come on and explain their reasoning.
That would be nice. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I think all of the 11% can have an hour segment each.
Yeah,
and can talk to us about their reasoning because I'd be intrigued.
Yeah, no, it'd be good and it'd be nice to see. If you're one of the 11%, put your reasoning in the chat before we finish.
Well, to be honest, Dave, they've got some more stats. They've done some demographics, and 11% are Aston Villa fans.
Or West Brom fans.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's 11% Gary O'Neill to stay, 77% out, and 12% are under singing. So that's basically just over 3/4 of, and we've had 1,000 people. That's a big Vox poll.
11% is Gary's family.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Anyway, Jason, you're
three to get out.
Yeah.
Southampton. I think it's Everton's time as well. I do. They're flirted for a long time, and they seem to be in a bit of disarray. And wouldn't it be lovely to move into that lovely stadium and be playing Huddersfield? And thirdly, I think it's either going to be us or Ipswich. And I'm being realistic. Do I want Wolves to go down? No, I don't. But I've got to be realistic. We're in a really, really dangerous position, and that's what worries me about the 11% of people who think that Gary O'Neill should stay at this club, because if we stay with him, we are 100% going down.
Okay. Score prediction for next week?
I'm going to sit on the fence and say I'm actually going to use Sooty's words and say I'll willingly watch my club lose next week if that meant Gary O'Neill went. And do you know what? I don't want my club to lose, and it pains me, but I don't know what more has got to happen to force change. I just don't know.
It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? When you're actually, as a fan, you're feeling that.
And you know
a
what?
lot of people are.
Say we win, or we get a 1-1 and we paper over the crack again, and then we beat someone, then we beat Everton, and Jeff Shee gets all excited, and they say no, and then we move to bottom but one in the table. Do you know what? It's just a completely false reading.
Fair point, though, mate. And Sooty, finally, to you.
Ipswich, Southampton, and Wolves to go down, because we've dragged our feet. This should have happened after Brentford. No two ways about it. We should have a manager in now who could have took a hit against Man City, and we might have got a new manager bounce. You never know. But nobody would have expected anything against City. But these two games were crucial to win. These are must-win games. We've just blew 2 points yesterday, but they were must-win. So I think they're just going to drag their feet. If we get to January with Gary O'Neill in charge, you can go and spend 200 million quid. We're going to go down. Too late. Way too late. And I think we'll lose on Saturday 2-1.
Julie Marin, Julie sums it up really, really succinctly, actually. As Wolves fans, it's soul destroying now. I've a friend of mine, Ant, here, who's runs a Leicester fan channel, who's obviously seen us live, has just jumped on. Says you're exactly where we were when we had Brendan Rodgers. Get rid now, save your season before it's too late. We've had a Villa fan come on and say the same. Just before we finish, I do want to encourage everyone to head over to our fantastic website, alwayswolves.co.uk. There's some great articles, things we learned, player ratings, match report, there's fan reactions, there's loads of other content. We've got stuff here from the under-21s as well. You know, there's academy stuff. There's all sorts on here. So go and check it out, because we've got some fantastically talented volunteer writers that write some great stuff. not plastered with loads of adverts all over it. It's not. There's no charge to go on it. Some really good in-depth articles as well. The only one thing that we're missing, and we'd love someone to come on board to do, is write about the girls, Wolves women.
Dave, I just wanted to say about that. I was just about to say that the girls won 7-1 today.
I know.
In the cup away.
Give Dan McNamara the job.
That's 21 goals in their last 3 games. 8-0 at the Albion.
Brilliant.
6-0.
Brilliant.
I can't remember who it was against now, and 7-0, and then 6-1. It's 21 goals in the last 3 games. So if you want to see Wolves score, go and watch the ladies play.
I'll tell you what, and this is a team as well who, for me, should be fully invested in and go proper professional, because they're competing in a league against professional teams. They won in the FA Cup first round today, a great away victory, 7-1. Okay, against a team they should beat, but they went and did the job. And, they're also, I think, top or second in the league. I think they're actually top of the league or second in the league as well, doing an absolutely remarkable job. And we just want someone to come on and do a little bit of reports, but even if it's just a weekly or a monthly thing on the girls, would be great to add that to all the Wolves topics that you can read on alwayswolves.co.uk. Right, we've just gone over 2 hours. It's been a great session. We've had so many of you tuning in tonight. Thank you so much for your support, and for tuning in. If you've become a member tonight, after I finish this, I will put the link to the members Discord group, which is a private members chat. There's lots of you guys on there, talk about everything and anything. I'll put the link to that on. Get on there, introduce yourself, get involved in the chat in between games. And we don't just talk football; they talk about music and everything in between, don't you? So and lots of things as well. And I want to say a massive thank you to Brian, to Hoops, to Howler. For Jason, who's always a good sport, and it was Jason. You're a happy clapper, probably like some people call me. You're angry. I can see that you're angry and you're upset. Sutty, you always say how it is, and do you know what, guys? It's soul destroying. We love our club. We just want the best for our club. We don't want to be talking negative. We don't want to be talking about the manager and getting rid of stuff. We don't want to be in that. We don't want to be having these conversations week in, week off. We don't want to be doing that. All we want is an identity and some structure and some hope. And
how can I go on holiday and wear this shirt on a beach and just embarrass myself with this ridiculous motif all over?
Mate, I'm going to do it when I go away for some winter.
I went on holiday. My missus says to me, "If you wear that," I got it out of the case, and she went, "What is that?" And I went, "What do you think it is?" She went, "If you wear that, we're getting divorced." So I wore it on holiday, and you know what? She lied to me. We're still married.
You've got a good one there. She supports
you. No,
you.
she's golden, really. I wouldn't swap her for anything, but I would part exchange her.
I have to say, Dave, that what tickled me this week was Dinny from Ireland in one of his the international things there, where he says, when he made that comment about he introduced the love of. He went to Molineux and
he said, "I'm going to introduce the love of my
life,
life,
of his life,
my wife,
to the woman he married."
Yeah. So, do you wanted to say something there? Just, I think.
That's all right.
No. What was it?
I'll
Would you get into trouble?
No, look, I know what Sutty was going to say. Sutty was going to go, "Dave, how many more of these shirts have they got left?"
Yeah.
Good news is about 32,000 of them.
Fantastic.
I'll tell you what, if we stay up, I'll wear one of them.
Can we get you on the same show where Jason's naked?
Yeah.
That would be worth the entrance fee alone.
Hey, I've just seen a comment here. Gary O'Neill's been sacked. Can someone check that? That's got
The last bloke that made a promise like Jason and City's just done.
Can I just say, I hope Gary O'Neill hasn't been sacked, because that means we're going to be on here till midnight, right? I hope he hasn't been sacked.
Turn it off quick.
Yeah.
Somebody else has put it as well.
Hang on, no. Oh, hang on. Yeah.
Oh, she's put I wish.
They wouldn't do it at this time of night.
Mate, we would be on here till midnight if that was the case.
No, don't sack him, Jeff. If you're watching, we know you're watching, Jeff, right? Don't sack him tonight. Just do it tomorrow. Don't sack him tonight, please. I beg you.
And let's
just
say,
it's been confirmed.
Oh,
I think
Chris,
it's been confirmed.
Get away from you.
Chris has just put yes, it's been confirmed.
Yeah,
Chris, shut up.
Have a look.
You just want to keep us on here. Just want to keep us on here.
Mrs. Dave's in the background. Come on, Dave.
I know. Listen, guys.
Yeah, I've got to go anyway. I've got to call round from this end.
if there is any confirmation, we'll do a
Dave, Gary O'Neill hasn't been sacked.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Noah's getting promotion of sell the club. My God, they're all going for it. Guys, it's absolutely brilliant show
David
tonight.
Moyes has got the job, Dave.
Absolutely brilliant show. Listen, thank you ever so much. Really constructive show as well. Although it's depressing at the moment, it's all done in the right way. It's not done in any nastiness against any individual or anything like that. It's just talking from the heart about the club, and that's the main thing. So absolutely brilliant show. Thank you, Brian, Hoops, Jason, and Sutty, and thank you for all of you guys that have tuned in. If you're watching it listening to it on the podcast, all the links are below, and if you're watching it back on catch up, which thousands of you do, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Oh my God! If you're listening on the podcast, Jason's now wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Power Ranger.
Yeah, and a Raul Jimenez mask, mate.
Yeah.
My God, I like Spider-Man.
Mate, you look good, man, as well. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
You're good.
Thank
you look like what's the Spider-Man that's the evil Spider-Man with the black one that with the the one that comes out.
Where's this, Dave? Where's this going? Really?
His name is.
Dave, I've got to go, mate. I've got to go.
Jason,
you look like you're going to go rob something.
No, I think Jason's going to Cannock Chase with that, I think.
What gives you that impression?
Oh, that's it. You look like Venom, a Wolves version of Venom.
Yeah.
That's it. And on that note, we're going to say good night. Okay, all the best, guys.
Night, all.
The best.
Always Wolves.
Always
Yeah,
Wolves.
always Wolves.
There's always one.